Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. A new fusion event, the Granyt Doorkeep fusion, just started today, and in this video I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this event, including how many resources you need to spend in order to complete it. First, thank you Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video and for giving me this wonderful promo link you can find down below in the description. You can find the QR code that gives you Deacon Armstrong after the tutorial, Uugo at 15, Tagoar at 20, Mausoleum Mage at 30, the best possible start to raid. Although if you're just now starting a raid account, then you cannot do this fusion. Although you might be able to do some parts of it, because Granyt Doorkeep fusion, running from September 22nd to October 8th, is a traditional fusion. And in a traditional fusion, you first acquire, promote and ascend some rares. Then those rares are going to be fused into epics. Then you're going to promote and ascend those epics. And then you're going to fuse those epics into Granyt. So overall, you need 16 rares to fuse 4 epics in order to use those 4 epics to fuse Granyt. And all of this must be done during the fusion event period. The last couple of fusions we have had have been fragment fusions. And in fragment fusions you get fragments and you can summon the champion at any time, even months afterwards. But in this one, no. You have to summon Granyt during this event, otherwise the opportunity is gone. Also, in a traditional fusion, there is no one last chance. Like in a fragment fusion, you're going to get real money offer to buy those final fragments. In a traditional fusion, there is no such thing, so you can't skip a lot of stuff. There are 16 rares and 1 direct epic available. That's enough to keep 1 epic if you get them all, or to skip 4 rares if you get the direct epic, which is from a pretty expensive summon rush though. And also, there's still the potential of Leonardo and Raphael events coming for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collaboration. We have only had Michelangelo and Donatello so far, and only uncertain events for Leonardo and Raphael. So that's also another incentive to skip this one. So there's a fair few incentives for skipping this. But even if you skip the main fusion, the epic and the rare actually look really good, so you want to pick up 1 or 2 copies of those. And if you're a newer player, note that all other events scale based on your account level, except for Summon Rush and Champion Chase. So the 2 most difficult events, it might look like, hey, this is going to be an easy fusion, you're just getting rares left and right. But once you hit Summon Rush and Champion Chase, you are going to be in so much trouble if you're a brand new player. So a brand new player can actually pick up the rare and the epic really easily. But completing the full fusion, that's really, really hard. Not to mention all the resources you need to upgrade your champions, because you need to get those rares to level 40 and fully ascend them. And then, once you fuse them into epics, you need to get the epics to level 50 and fully ascend those. So overall that requires 48 3-star food for those rares, and then 16 4-star food for those epics. And also for the ascensions, you're going to need 80 lesser arcane potions, 108 greater arcane potions, 12 superior arcane potions, 160 lesser void potions, 64 greater void potions, 80 greater force potions, and 24 superior force potions. The Void Keep is only open for 2 days during this event if you don't have those potions already at hand. It's going to be open on September 28th on Sunday and on October 5th another Sunday. Force Keep is going to be open more because it's open on Tuesdays and on Fridays. So it's going to be open on September 23rd, 26th, 30th, and then October 3rd, and finally at the very end, October 7th. Let's take a bit more of a detailed look at the event calendar and all the overlaps and synergies that are there. So the event started today, and it started with Gear Hunters Event 1 and Fire Night Tournament. And what is Gear Hunters, you might ask? Gear Hunters is Dungeon Divers. It's just renamed Dungeon Divers. Nothing has changed but the name. It's the exact same event. And the first Gear Hunters event only overlaps the Fire Night Tournament. So that's quite an energy-intensive start. Although as an upside, CVC Clan vs Clan is also going to start tomorrow. So there's going to be Clan vs Clan where you can get more energy, so that you might be able to complete this Gear Hunters event together with the Fire Night alone. Because Gear Dungeons, Tournament Energy, if you're in a bit of a higher bracket, so you need 2,250 points to get the rare from a Fire Night tournament, then farming stage 20 you need a little bit over 2,000 energy to do that. Whereas Dungeon Divers, farming stage 20 and being in the higher bracket, 3,700 points required, you're going to need more than 4,800 energy. So that's quite a lot, and often Dungeon Divers is overlapped by 2 dungeon tournaments, so then you will be able to complete those dungeon tournaments and then you're almost done with Dungeon Divers. But here there's only 1. Although coming to rescue is the Event Dungeon. If you really desperately need Dungeon Divers points, then Event Dungeon Stage 3 is actually by far the best way to get those points if you just don't care about the loot at all. Tomorrow, also overlapping the Clan versus Clan, the first gear enhancement event begins. There are going to be 3 gear enhancement events during this fusion overall. And if you're in the higher bracket, then you're looking forward to spending around 20 million silver per gear enhancement event. So they can become quite costly. But on the other hand, if you have a lot of silver, then these are super easy ways to pick up those rares. The big Summer Rush event is going to happen during the weekend, starts on Friday, ends on Monday, and that is going to have the direct epic as a reward. And last time there was a traditional fusion that had this kind of a Summer Rush event. You needed 3,500 points for the rare and 6,100 points for the epic. So 7 sacred shards for the rare, 12.2 sacred shards for the epic. Obviously you can mix and match the shard types any way you like, but it's going to take quite a lot of shards, and if you're trying to save for something like potential Leonardo event that is probably coming, then that is probably the end of the road for getting Granyt, because spending those sacreds just doesn't seem that great of an idea. But if you have the shards to spare, then obviously this also gets you a direct epic without any of that upgrading and ascending thing. And also, if you're a newer player, then Summon Rush is not going to scale, so this is where you see the full point requirements for the first time. Then we have Gear Hunters 2, and it's going to overlap Dragon and Ice Golem. So if you don't start doing Dragon immediately when the Dragon tournament starts, you wait a little bit, then you're going to be able to double dip into that plus the Gear Hunters. Whereas you want to start Ice Golem as soon as possible, because then you still benefit from Gear Hunters 2. There are also 2 practically free rares available. You just need to log into the game a few times a day during the classic arena takedown tournaments. There's one coming in the weekend, there's another one next weekend. Super easy ways to pick up rares. So these are the easiest ways to pick up those rare champions. And the third Gear Hunters event is going to overlap Ice Golem, and it's going to overlap Spider. Although as a downside, if you already did Ice Golem for Gear Hunters 2, then it's not going to help you that much to do it again for Gear Hunters 3. Although you might be able to pick up some of the higher tier rewards from Ice Golem, so there's that. But overall, not too much Dungeon Tournament Gear Hunters overlap in this calendar. The end of the calendar is pretty nice though, because here we have a champion training event, and in champion training event you can also level up and upgrade the fusion pieces. But do note that this champion training event overlaps champion chase. Champion chase starts a little bit later, and for champion chase you want to be pulling those. Because both event rewards, so just not claiming your reward until you reach champion chase, then claim it, points, and also all the fusions. So fusing all of those rares into epics, all of that counts for the champion chase tournament. And that's going to help a little bit with the point requirement, because the point requirement in the last time we had champion chase like this for a rare, that was 3,500 points. So that's more than 13 sacred shards. But in champion chase, you can gain those champions any means necessary. So there's a lot of things that you can do in order to get those points. So to sum this all up, what are your options for the Granyt Doorkeep fusion? So if you go for the full fusion, you need to do almost everything. The only way to skip even a single event is to reach the epic reward in the Summon Rush. And remember, Summon Rush does not scale by account level, so this is quite a bit more difficult than doing a Fragment Fusion. And also no leeway at all in Fragment Fusion. At least you can spend a little bit of real money at the end if you're just a tiny bit short. Here you got nothing. If you only want some of the pieces, then you have lots of options available. Classic Arena, that's 2 rares, basically almost for free. Gear Enhancement, if you have the silver, then that's another 3 rares. So Classic Arena plus Gear Enhancement, that can already give you 5 rares. Then you could upgrade and ascend 4 of those, turn them into an epic, and you would have an epic and a rare. Just like that. Obviously Gear Enhancement, if you don't have silver saved, then that can be tricky. But then you have these Gear Hunter things, because first, there's Gear Hunters 1, the Finite Tournament, and well, the first Gear Enhancement. These are going to overlap the personal rewards Clan versus Clan. So you have an incentive to play and to gain rewards anyway, and that's an opportunity to double dip. And then there's Gear Hunters 2 and 3. Both of those overlap 2 dungeon tournaments. However, one of the dungeon tournaments is shared between the two, but if you only need to complete one of them, then you can get 3 rares at the cost of 2 by completing 2 dungeon tournaments and getting the gear hunters done at the same time. So those are some of the easiest ways to get the rare and get the epic and not compromise your savings for the Leonardo event. So if you don't want to spend any shards on this, for example, obviously if you have a lot of shards and you want to spend some shards, then Summon Rush is there, Champion Chase is there. You can just get stuff really easily from those if you happen to have a good supply of shards. Granyt is a nice champion, but it's not a must-have by any means, so you can also safely skip this one. And the epic and the rare will look pretty good, so especially if you have a newer account, where also many of these events are a little bit easier, then by all means do grab the rare, do grab the epic, they are going to help a lot. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.